Let's go. All right. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the District of Brown Deer School Board meeting, our first one for FY26. So, welcome, everyone. All right. Verification. I'd like to call this meeting to order at 6:01 p.m. Verification of public notice. Meeting has been publicly noticed. Verification of a quorum. We have 5 of our 7 board members in attendance this evening. Approval of the agenda. Would someone like to make a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
We'll make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Thank you very much, Ms. Robinson. Motion made. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you much, Ms. Hallmark. Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor will raise hand and/or aye. Any opposed? Hearing and seeing none, motion carries unanimously 5-0. And the reading of our mission and vision statement. Our mission is through the lens of excellence, equity, and engagement. We are dedicated to empowering every student with essential skills to build a foundation for lifelong learning. And our vision is to provide a rigorous education that empowers our students to confidently navigate in our ever-changing world. All right, let's go on to our next item of business, the business office report. Mr. Paul.
Good evening, board. We are processing data over the next few weeks for our January 2nd, Friday pupil count. As a reminder, students who are not present on the count date, which is January 9th, must be present at least one day before and one day after the count date. The January count is combined with September's numbers to calculate the district's equalization rate for the next school year. Ms. Connie Hoppy is leading the charge of that and scrubbing the data over the next week. We plan to have a report to the board at the next meeting. Second item I have is district provided lunch update. This November and December, the board generously offered free lunch to all students regardless of income level. We estimated the total cost to be $32,550 and came in slightly higher at roughly $33,507. In total, the district provided 13,403 lunches to students during this time. And lastly, we had our administrative review on December 18th. EPI has given us some corrective actions to work on. So right now we are working on implementing those improvements. All I have.
I have a question in relationship to some of the regulations or whatever. Was the regulations anything having to do with financial control?
No, it was mostly just the implementation of our program. A lot of the letters and things that inform parents we hadn't been sending out, and some of the letters were a little older in our system. So we're just updating those and making sure that we identify the people that get the benefits correctly. I think we had like 3 people that we didn't get verified correctly. Other than that, it was pretty smooth. They're pretty impressed.
Okay, cool, perfect. All right, board members, any other questions for Mr. Paul?
I'm just interested in how many were you saying for? Corrective action.
I want to say 15.
15.
Some of them are as easy as changing the contract online to reflect the correct people and verifying official information. So very simple. And then some of them are we need to change our unpaid meal policy to have a specific number. So right now we have like a week's worth of lunch, but it needs to have a dollar amount. And then we turn off their a la carte purchasing if we negative that amount. So not big.
Just with controls.
Yep.
And some of that stuff we had already sent out. We had notified parents that we were doing that, like with the a la carte, because we had parents that were calling in and wanting to know why they were seeing these charges. And so we told them that it was just as simple as letting us know that they wanted their child not to be able to do a la carte items. And so we started some of that stuff along.
Cool, but nothing that we think that we're gonna have an issue trying to correct.
No.
All right, hold you to it. All right, sounds good. Any other questions for Mr. Paul? All right, let's go on to our next item, approval of new hires. Is that Ms. Jackson?
Good evening, board. I do not have any new hires to report this evening.
All right, resignations.
I do have one resignation to report, that resignation being Miss Danielle Moen from the elementary school, first grade teacher. She submitted her resignation today. Her last day of employment will be January 27th of 2026. And it's pending receipt of liquidated damages.
Okay, we're gonna make sure we exit interview.
That is correct. So what happens is I do send out communication of everything that a separating employee needs to do, which is complete the survey, pay liquidated damages, return property, and reminder of what benefits they had and when the benefits were.
And how long was Ms. Bowen an employee here teaching?
Second year.
Yeah.
Second year?
Yeah, she's in here.
Yeah, okay. All right. All right. Well, with that being said, would someone like to make a motion to approve?
Yes.
I would like to make a motion to approve the resignation of Danielle Moen as a first grade teacher effective January 27th, 2026, pending receipt of liquidated damages.
All right. Thank you very much, Ms. Ashley. Motion has been made. Do we have a second? Thanks, Ms. Fairden. Motion made and seconded. Any other discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor, raise hand and or aye.
Aye.
Any no's? Okay. Motion carries unanimously 5-0. We wish Danielle success in her new endeavors, and once a Falcon, always a Falcon. All right, let's go on to our next item of business. Discussion of the 26-27 budget calendar. Mr. Paul?
Good evening, board.
All right.
As you guys have in front of you, should have the 26-27 budget planning calendar. I know we just certified our levy about 2 months ago, and we're already starting to think about next year. Would you guys like me to read through the entire thing, or just give you January what we're looking at?
You know what? Why don't we do, let's do January, February, and March. So we would turn around and let's do the quarter.
Sure. So in January, we have begin budget discussions with our leadership team. It's reviewing budget timelines, district priorities, and staffing discussions. Present budget timeline at board work session. Review 26-27 revenue assumptions with the board. I believe I'll have something next meeting for that. Review 26-27 expenditure assumptions with the board. Budget meetings with administrators, directors as necessary. Leadership team continues priority and staffing discussions. Board approves the 26-27 open enrollment seats. Teacher retirement notices are due. On February, the board approves the 26-27 new course proposals, reviews 26-27 revenue and expenditure assumptions. Prepare budget guidelines based on revenue and expenditure assumptions, present budget guidelines including enrollment projections, current staffing level, projected finances available, etc. to the board. Lastly, in March, we have staffing needs assessment conducted. Building departmental level budget development continues. Distribute full budget spreadsheets to budget supervisors, meet with administrators and directors as necessary. Begin personnel budgets, department level budgets due to building principals, and deadline for the 25-26 purchasing is on March 15th.
Okay. All right. Board members, any questions in relationship to this budget planning calendar? I think it's a nice timeline on the things that need to happen or whatever, and the stuff that we need to submit it. And I think what it's going to do is it actually kind of works in unison with when we get ready to do our next thing or whatever that we've got to talk about later on. But I think everybody knows what I'm talking about. So I think it kind of goes hand in hand and it kind of works out for us when we start to talk about that stuff for April. Okay. Any other questions or comments for Mr. Paul? Anything else you'd like to add, sir? All right, thank you very much. All right, let's go on to our next item. All right, let's go on to item 3A. Let's turn around. Let's talk about this open enrollment seat. So I believe that would be Dr. Kai.
It's Ms. Ramos.
Oh, Ms. Ramos. Okay.
Good evening and Happy New Year. Took a little spin here. And so I will be overseeing our open enrollment for the 26-27 school year. And per board policy, we will be discussing that here in January to approve seats at our next board meeting for school year. We are asking the board for approval of a total of 151 seats. However, 96 of those seats are already taken because we do not ask students to reapply. So new seats would total 55. The 55 will be coming from the elementary school. What we did this year is we developed a projection based on speaking with the administrator of the elementary school to determine what the comfortability of the class sizes. And we look into enrollment trends, resident enrollment trends, And we are still waiting on the final numbers for second Friday, numbers, which will adjust these a little bit. However, this year, what I used our current enrollment, our past projection. There was a already created spreadsheet with the formulas that I needed to make the determinations. So at this time, the 55 new open enrollment seats have a breakdown of kindergarten, 15, first grade, 15, second grade, 20, third grade, 5. Those take into account in the early grades, 18-to-1 ratio. And as we get into third grade, a 20-to-1 ratio.
What are we currently?
100.
The ratios are 18-to-1 there.
I don't think it really changes much.
No,
It's like adding another kid into each one of the, because how many sections of first grade do we have? We got 5 first grade, same with K5?
correct. All
All right.
sections have 5, so it would be in addition of 2 or 3 in each sections where there's 15. Our first grade section has the lowest numbers. So we would really just be adding to.
Okay. And this kind of still continues to go along with our thought process of starting with having our students younger and
Correct.
being able to teach them the Brown Deere way as they continue to go through the system.
And having them stay with us longer. This is the exact same thing, if you remember. Ms. Ramos and I came back to you last year and asked for an additional 50 seats at that time. And this is that same pattern now. We're just adding, we will be continuing to add a grade every year until we hit 6th grade. Then we'll stop.
Also goes along with our strategic plan in relationship to, and that was the one thing that we had talked about as a board, was making sure that we started with our students younger and stuff, and being able to coach them up or teach them up and being able to do it. And the only way to do it is be able to get them in K5, first grade, second grade, and being able to teach them the Brown Deere way and being able to do that. And if we need to do some of that tier 2 and some of those other things and stuff, we can take care of that. And we can do it while they're younger and being able to, speed up the progression and everything else like that. And be able to identify. So.
And so moving forward, I also did use a caseload capacity ratio chart to determine if we would have any special education seats. And at this time, that would be 0 for special ed seats. And I do have an update for the estimated amount of revenue. For the new total would be around 600,000.
Okay, it's about 600. When does that number sound about right to you, sir?
Mhm.
I'm so sorry, go ahead.
That 600,000 accounts for the 55 plus, right? At
Total 150.
I think you mentioned the dollar amount per pupil.
It's
9,000.
incorrect here. So it's estimated 11,000 regular ed, estimated special ed about 15,000, 14,882.
But you don't have any special ed
No.
students right now.
Well, we do. We have lingering special ed students. from before my time
Got it.
That are still
That
open
was still
enrollment.
part of that, okay.
Mhm.
9,300.
Right, yeah, I was gonna say that number can't be right because I think we're getting 9,300
Quentin gave me the
burglary.
amount.
Huh?
District
Quentin gave me the
received
updated amount.
9306
Right.
regular ed.
Yeah,
It is $11,030
That's how much we get when they come from another district?
for regular ed, yes.
Yeah.
okay.
How much do we get when they are in district?
Is that the nine? It should be the same dollar amount. So where's this $9,306
No,
coming?
that is an incorrect number.
That is an incorrect.
No, how do we get the same from a different district?
Because it follows the student,
Yeah, the money, the funds follow the student.
right? So this,
The full amount though, right?
the full amount stays the same unless they're going to a choice school or something like that, then it's different.
Wait,
Yeah.
yeah, but typically, I think the full dollar
No,
follows.
it follows the student. So the number is 11,000 what?
11,030 regular ed.
Okay, that's right. Okay. All right.
That's the.
Okay.
So my concern with opening up for another 55 is that we have new development
on Brown Deer Road that's happening. So we don't know what's coming out of that development.
Mhm.
And then when Target opens those apartments, probably in 2027 was the last estimate I heard. We don't know who's gonna be there. So do we really wanna add 55 at this point, knowing that those two developments are in the works?
So are you thinking about increasing? What are you thinking?
I'm thinking our population is going
Right.
to increase over
Right.
the next couple of years.
Are you thinking we should be allocating more seats?
Yeah.
Or less.
Less.
We
We were asking, our last business manager about that, and he was saying that it didn't,
It really didn't,
it didn't
it
really.
didn't really grow. Cause you gotta remember, these apartments that are going up are one bedroom and maybe two bedrooms. And if you got a 2 bedroom, you may have one kid that may be in there. You usually don't have multiple, usually again. And I think there's only X amount of those that were identified, when talking with President Montgomery, I think there was only X amount of those that were identified as being able to meet the criteria for low income for families to be able to do that as well too.
From student spots, so it wasn't that many, and the prices are pretty, on point with the rest of the suburban
I'm not gonna
areas.
say the only reason why we gonna get more students is because they low income.
I didn't say that. I said there was only a certain amount of those also. The rest of them are like 90% of them are regular or whatever, but you're still talking about a 1 bedroom and a 2 bedroom. And so for all intents and purposes, generally, if you got a 1 bedroom, you don't have it. And if you do have a 2 bedroom, you may have one, maybe two, max.
A family of 3,
Yeah.
total top 4.
Yeah.
In a 2-bedroom apartment. Maybe 5. That's.
That's pushing
That's-
it. Yeah. Now, okay, I guess my question then is to go to Ms. Robinson's point is this. When does that develop? Does anybody remember Lynn, do you remember when they said that development was gonna be completed?
Which one?
The one that where the old US, I think the one where the old US Bank is.
I don't even think they broke ground yet there.
All right, cause that one right there, but there was one that should be getting ready
You
to.
talking about the one in Target, the one across where the shopping center is. I'm talking about these places on this side by the old US Bank building.
They're already up.
I know, so they should be filling those.
And open.
Yeah, they already up and open.
Yeah.
And I wonder, I don't know, but that may be something we may talk to our registrar about and see, like, how many additional students did we end up getting that are there? That could we get it off the transportation list as well too.
Yeah.
And being able to do that. But now remember, we're only really talking about the elementary school, talking about grades. For the open enrollment, we're only talking about grades K-5 through 3rd grade.
At this point.
Yeah.
Now, if you
So,
would like, we can come back and provide you numbers for this, because this is only a discussion at this point. We can provide you registrar numbers, because if those places are open right now, we should be seeing an influx of students right
Yeah.
now into the district. And I know we've seen it. And okay, Eric said, and
I mean, it's not like they've been open for a year or
Right.
something.
If
And-
you're
but
already
you-
looking at school year,
And it
planning for
could
the school
be-
year coming up though, if you're a parent, sorry for cutting you off.
A lot of people, when they do move, like, I think we're gonna say the same
Yeah.
thing. They will leave their child at the school and
Yeah.
move them at the beginning of the year.
Right.
Exactly, so we wouldn't see an influx right now.
I mean, if we had an additional 50 kids, could we handle the capacity? I mean, that's going way overboard.
Well, I was told at one time BDE held 850 kids.
And we are.
that was before we did the expansion. That was pre-expansion when we did that. But I think the way that the building is set up, and like I said before, we've got 5. So let's just say you end up with, I don't know, was it 20 in 1 grade? So you end up with another 20. You got 40. You've got, 5 grade levels. You've got 5 sections or whatever have you. You're adding 8 students. And then I also think too, because I think we do have the space, if we do end up having that grade problem, we can open up another classroom. Because you got to remember now, we're making the revenue that's coming in order to be able to do that. And all of us sitting around here have turned around and done budgets before. So that classroom, you take out the space cost, you take out the cost of the teacher and everything else like that. And once you break that down or whatever, it should be able cover the cost of that and do whatever else needs to happen. So again, a good problem to have if that does happen. And we still wouldn't be talking about overcrowding. We would still be talking about our ratio still being, and you think about it, 20-1. Think about that, 20-1. That's excellent.
And the other piece to this too is that you just had in terms of the report card, right? You've got young families who are probably looking for a great district.
Mhm.
And you've got a stellar reputation at the elementary level, which means that you probably will have the students who, and because if I'm a parent, but
That's just-
not pay. Particularly if I live in a district and then move them when they get older.
Yeah.
Right, because you saved as a family.
Yeah.
The village should have a sense, I like, if you want to be preemptive, the village has a census on all of those residents.
Yeah.
So
And then,
just
yeah.
all-
And then we have the meeting, and then we have the bi-monthly meetings with the village, the district and the village. And so we could go ahead and we could talk to President Montgomery and her team or whatever, to kind of see what the numbers are looking like or whatever. Hence the reason why we even have those meetings, so that we can find out what each other is doing or whatever, so there can be a seamless transition and or collaboration. But excellent insight, and let's let Ms. Robinson.
Yeah, as long as we have the space where we could accommodate, then that's fine, but I just wouldn't want us to push.
And small and still being able to keep it around that 20-1 ratio.
So, because the 20 only hits at third, right?
The rest of us 18.
But the rest
I
of them
think
are 18.
the first grade is small right now.
I have a question. So with these 55 kids,
Not particularly the K-5, because that's such a beginning year where they can come in at any point normally and be caught up. But for those first, second, and third graders, do we have a plan for getting them to level if they are not, if they're coming,
If they're coming in behind. Yeah, we would definitely put something together for them. We probably find it out through some of the assessments that we would end up giving to the students. So, the very first thing that we hit off with is math. That's the first thing. And so based off of whatever those results showed us, then we can go ahead and triage from there.
Yep, figure out if there needs to be some tier 2 interventions. And I know Dr. Glass and Raymond, they actually came up with a great system when we started talking about the tier 2 and kind of what we're doing and trying to be able to bring students up to level and everything else like that. Hence the other reason too, I like the idea of is doing elementary school up to third grade, because if we can go ahead and like I said before, we catch those students when they're younger, and if there are some deficiencies or some areas that they haven't been exposed to, we can turn around and potentially be able to catch them up because of the smaller groups and everything else like that, and the small group implementation, and well as the small class sizes. All right, so now that was that informational only?
Yes, discussion.
Well, it was a nice discussion. All right, board members, anybody else have any other questions in relationship to this or whatever? I'm actually pretty comfortable with the explanation. Any other questions? Because I know this is gonna actually have to come to us for an approval, probably next board meeting.
Yes, for it.
Any other questions that you guys can think of? All right, thank you very much.
Yep.
Let's go on to our next item, spring election update.
Okay.
Would that be Ms. Ross or would that be Ms. Ashley?
I think I'm gonna have Ross. Thank you very much. 2 seats are on the school district board or up for re-election this cycle. Successful candidates will serve a 3-year term beginning April 27th, 2026. Candidates who have filed are both incumbents. They are Dorinthia Robinson and Dr. Todd Beadle, and no primary will be required. The ballot will state vote for 2. That's it.
All right.
Make my job easy.
All right. Congratulations, Ms. Ross. All right. Okay. All All right, let's go on to our next item, which is our approval of the 2026 WASB State Education Convention proposed resolutions. All right, so there were a few that were identified that we thought that we potentially really need to maybe take a deep dive into. Board members, which ones do we want to go over each one of these like really, really quick, or were there a few that you really wanted to have a discussion about because you potentially didn't agree with what WASB is trying to get us to approve or not to approve?
I think we should go through each one, even if we don't have a discussion around it. If everybody's clear, we can just say, okay, approve that.
Okay. All right. So resolutions forwarded by the Policy and Resolution Committee. The first one is opposing the removal of the cap for the Wisconsin parental choice system. All right. The cap is at 10% and an income cap of 220% of the federal poverty level on participating in the Wisconsin Parental Choice Program. And they are opposing the removal of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they want to keep the cap. No, that sounds crazy. They want to keep the cap, you cap it.
WASB supports maintaining an enrollment cap.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so we say yay.
We good with that.
Yeah.
I got mixed feelings, but I'll go with it. Go ahead, Ms. Farrington, and then I'll do mine. We may be getting ready to say the same thing.
So they don't want the cap, which puts families in a little box. So if you're really outside that box, then you don't get to participate because you don't fall in that range. So I think they should remove the cap. Again, I'm one of all of us, but that cap is a disadvantage to some families.
For me, it's just kind of like one of those things to where I think the people should be able to have a choice, period, point blank. If they want to, regardless of what my income is or whatever, if I want to go to a different school outside of my district and be able to go to a choice school or whatever, I should be able to do that. But yeah, that's just me and everything and stuff. And to me, I think part of it, what would happen is it would make public school districts have to step some of their games up in relationship to that. Because now there is no, now you're going based on your own merit, not because somebody made too much money and they had no choice but to stay with you. So again, that's just me. I think it just creates healthy competition. But I also think too, it's a budgetary item as well too for school districts or whatever and stuff, because you would turn around and lose students. Like for us, right now we lose
Millions of dollars a year.
Yeah, we lose that because of open enrollment season, people being able to go to other districts, and the money kind of follows and everything else like that. And we're always still going to be responsible for educating that student regardless. So again, I have mixed feelings and stuff, but I can live with it.
The only way I would want that I think I would agree with removing the cap is if number 10 happens. So
Interesting. Okay. Well, what are we thinking? So, we've got two people that are kind of on the fence. I could go either way. It doesn't really matter, from that standpoint. But again, Ms. Ashley, you.
I could go either way with for my initial vote was just yeah, just because of the if you still allow folks to have. I know it limits, you're putting limitations on, the income and that kind of thing. That would be the downside, but at the end of the day, I mean, yeah.
Okay.
yeah, it's not that I don't think people should have choices. It's that the way that our funding works in this state just makes it difficult.
But you got part of I think everything being so difficult is people really don't understand the funding, right? we just don't really understand. I think some districts don't understand, this funding business. And then to think that in this new administration, we're gonna get a new administration because the governor has decided that he's not gonna run.
Yeah.
We don't know what this is
What's
gonna
gonna
look
happen?
like. Like, I just, yeah. Yeah, we're just at the pleasure of, whatever that is. And right now,
And everybody gotta remember our current governor was the state superintendent.
Educations are, right?
So. All right, Ms. Hallmark, thoughts?
I agree with what you said.
Resolution, if I may, is not around removing the choice, but it is around removing the qualifications to apply. And so that means that regardless of what your income is, you're able now to take a seat and receive funding for something that you could potentially pay for. Which would, that seat, every school system has an enrollment cap. And so what does that mean for the students and the families that choice was actually created for? The cap initially was like $60,000.
Yeah.
And over the years, it has been increased and increased and increased. And it's defeating the purpose for which it was created.
So with that said, and you are actually for what yes.
I said that to say that the cap should remain. Or that's my thoughts, my policy.
But they said the rationale for it is the enrollment and income cap plays a role in preserving both the physical sustainability of public schools and the integrity of Wisconsin education system. Removing these caps could lead to significant increases in local tax burdens, potential destabilizing, public school funding. Retaining enrollment and income caps helps ensure balance and equitable educational opportunities. So, okay, with that being said, I mean, I can live with it. I could agree with it.
Oh, you're pulling, yeah. Everybody, can we go around real quick?
We don't need to.
Okay, so we go with get a recommendation. Okay.
I guess I'm the only one that wants to take this cap off, and I'm okay with that.
Okay. The second one is revisions to the school district and school report card. WASB calls on the state superintendent of public instruction and legislation to collaborate and amend the school district and school report card process and relevant state statutes to reflect the following considerations. Student achievement and growth should be valued equally. Eliminate the practice of weighing student proficiency based on free and reduced lunch program, population sizes, take into account schools with high degree of advanced placement in international baccalaureate, dual credit, career and technical education, and extracurricular activities. Include physical efficiency in report card scoring, and any changes to the report card scoring and or relevant statutes should be considered with input from school leaders from all CSAs in the state. This one right here, I would actually, you know what? I would say Dr. Cotton. And Dr. Cotton, Dr. Glass, and Ms. Ramos. What are your thoughts in relationship to this one right here about the school report card? Because this whole thing in relationship to weighing proficiency based on free and reduced lunch population sizes, right? I know they changed the criteria this year for they were scoring the state report card. The year prior to that, they weren't taking into consideration growth and everything. They brought growth back. And that's kind of part of that was one of the things that actually helped us be a district exceeding expectations because of the growth that we show. So with that being said, would this be one of those ones that would hurt us or help us?
Well, when we look at our population, I would say it would hurt because it doesn't acknowledge the inequities. Like we're talking about the possibility of an influx of students who may come in at or below or significantly below grade level. And we will be held to the same criteria as a population of students who are at 90% proficiency or higher already.
So that's really that first piece about the achievement versus growth. And we are able to show a lot of growth, right? And achievement is just flat out, like you are already proficient, and if we're continuously growing our children. So even that first one, it just puts us at a disadvantage. And then we are getting better about our children taking advanced placement. We kind of jump down the 3. We're getting better about that and providing all of these opportunities. But there are some places where that's all they are in their name, right? It's the advanced placement, it's the IB, it's all of that. And so that puts us at a disadvantage. So this one.
Right. And also the biggest one as well too.
Yeah.
We're 60% above free and reduced lunch.
Exactly. So
now we turn around and we start talking about some of our fellow school districts or whatever have you that may be 10% or what. There is a giant difference.
there's going to be a giant difference.
So they basically want to say, we don't care what your lunch status
What
is,
you look like.
you're going to be evaluated the same as my North Shore kids who come home to tutors and parents.
Because
Yeah.
because the rationale is they want to be able to, because they change it all the time. They say you're never able to compare one year consistently to the next year because they've moved where the measuring stick is. So now eliminating all of this makes it all on an even playing field with everybody else.
Another thought to ponder is how would that impact funding? Because right now, there are different types of subsidies and fundings that are granted to school districts, title grants, to support these inequities or these lower performances. If we decide to vote for it to be a level playing field, then we inherently say to ourselves, that's going to come out of our Fund 10 or other budget line.
We're okay with giving them funding.
Yeah. That's the reason why they talked about all of the CESA regions.
And it's not a level playing field. But when it's
It's not.
clear about that.
We already know, we already know.
All right, so I think we know where we're going on this one. Definitely. This is an N, an A. Okay, let's go on to our next one. Is amendment to resolution. Wait, I'm so sorry. Amend existing 5.22 fund distribution. The rationale is the state education agency has expertise, experience, and efficient structure to handle the allocation and disbursement of state and federal funds.
So they just knocked out the supervision piece of it. To supervise the discretionary, to supervise the distribution. To supervise the distribution, essentially supervision and all funds. So we're just all the distribution of all funds.
Quinn, thoughts?
I believe that's kind of how it works now with EPA. We're seeing all the funds.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Right.
Only thing taken out of there is the public schools and the school system that receives public funds. The only thing they're doing is just pulled out the public schools and just make it any school. Possibly supports state education agency supervision, distribution of all federal education funds. If federal funds from the U.S. Department of Education is changed to be federal block grants or other funding sent directly to the states from the federal agency.
So any school district, does that now include your private, your choice?
To me, that's what it seems like it would be.
So it's any, so it's just not, public schools wouldn't be only held to this, it would be any.
Yeah. Thoughts?
It's just all over saying everybody.
Yeah.
It's all comes from the same side.
Yes. Yeah, I would say yes.
Yeah.
That's all it is. That's all it is. All right. So we think this is a yes? Okay. All right, let's go on to our next one. Resolution as submitted by Nina Joint Amend existing, I mean, is this the same one?
We don't know.
Hey, is this a different?
Yeah, this is number 4. So it's 1.26. And WASB is opposing limits on scheduling referenda. So
It's the referendum.
yeah, this is a referendum one. And they oppose limitation on the duration, scope, frequency, or effect of the school referenda. My name is Nina.
Yeah.
Limits for districts for that.
Yeah, because we're ready to go this, so yeah.
Yeah, because you
I
don't.
think this would be one we'd wanna,
You might see where it's-
yes. And then the
You
next,
can't tell us,
no,
you can't not give us money and then tell us we can't.
Right.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah. Because that's what it is.
Yeah. The next one is by New London. WASB calls on the state superintendent of public instruction to amend the school report card process as follows. Student growth and achievement should be valued equally. Stop the practice of weighing student proficiency based on, see, but again, this is.
Trying to know you go back.
Okay.
Maybe going.
Oh, I am. Well, I was like, wait a minute, let's talk about this. I'm like, wait a minute,
You
Jack.
should be on 5.
Yeah.
Substance
Substance
abuse.
abuse.
Treatment.
Uh-oh. What y'all trying to tell me?
Put it down.
Hey, no means no. No. We on 4, the amendment to.
Don't take the clip off, sir.
Man, hey, leave me alone.
Leave me alone.
Man, I mess with folks. Leave me alone. So. Madam VP, you go ahead, you read. She won't be like that, okay. Substance abuse disorder and treatment aid resolution as forwarded by the Policy and Resolutions Committee. Is to create, WASB supports legislation to establish a new categorical aid to fund and support school-based substance use disorder prevention and treatment related services. This aid should be comprehensive in order to fully fund necessary resources and staffing the district may need, blah, blah, blah. Rationale, a new categorical aid for school-based and substance use disorder prevention and treatment services is essential to addressing the growing mental health and addiction challenges faced by students. Without dedicated and targeted funding, schools often lack the resources to provide early intervention, prevention education, and access to treatment. All right, so, Ms. Ramos?
I do agree with that, but WAS recommends the state provide a minimum of $25 per pupil in the first year. I don't know, that's not even enough. 25, 35 per pupil, 50 per pupil. I mean, can we contract with people and companies? Yes. I would say yes to that. I wish it was a little bit more, but then where's that money coming from too?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Where
are
are
they
they,
gonna have to
what
apply
bucket are
for
they
it?
pulling it from?
Yeah.
It is only, now I see that it covers training for this use awareness, but you know, like in a district like ours, we have more kids that struggle with just regular mental health
Right.
Right.
than we do with substance abuse. So where is our treatment? You know, what can we do for the mental health? So we could use it there, sure, because then it covers all kids, but we don't have as much of this problem as some of the other schools.
Oh, Nina.
Yeah, being a joint student. And they were really talking about this for more smaller school districts.
Yeah.
To be able to get the aid. This $25 or $35 or whatever for small school. So my thing would be is what would they consider being the small schools?
I do like the mental health first aid, that is for the youth, that I think that would be beneficial.
But are these services only being provided to those who have been identified to have substance abuse?
Not the youth mental health first aid, that could be for anybody.
Well, these funds that are being set aside, are they going to be available at all? Or you're gonna have to apply for them? It's all those little nuances. You know, you can create this, but how do you get access to it if you find that you have the need for it?
You guys look at the last paragraph on page 10 about how the committee had decided to move forward with the.
I was looking at the second paragraph.
A different form when it was originally submitted, so they're adopting something that was not even originally submitted.
Resolution is approved via referendum.
That's related to 4 though.
Yeah, and 10 is the referendum. 12. Are you looking at 12?
Wait a minute, looking at 5.
And then it goes from
That's
11 to
page
12.
Hey. Got it, yeah, okay. One at a time.
Great minds think alike. I don't care what nobody say. Say we here. Now what? Tell me 2 plus 2 don't equal 4.
You telling us, I know, that's the problem.
Hey. It all depends on what else I had in my pocket. No. All right. So
I mean, I agree. My only concern is usually when these things are drafted, they're specifically for this. Because even under the rationale, it says a new categorical aid for school-based substance use disorder prevention and treatment. So even though it has this mental health first aid, I think they're going to tie it to, you have to have a substance abuse disorder in order to qualify, you know, like they're very prescriptive about how you use the funds.
Yeah.
So if this is not something that we're saying, I agree with you. I don't necessarily think that we should be saying yes if it's not.
And they wanna create a whole nother categorical.
Right.
yeah, and where's it coming from?
Right.
Right.
So then you have to use the order
and
and
treatment.
right,
Yeah. And it's only for small schools.
right.
It's only for small schools?
Yep. That's what it read. That's what the way I read it. It said it was for small schools.
What's considered small?
I already said that. It didn't say.
Yeah, that's the question.
And I agree with you, the amount is not really reasonable that they're proposing.
All right, so we are saying no? Nope, okay, thank you. All right, let's go on to number 6. Vocational transition for students with disabilities. Rationale is improving vocational transition services, I'm sorry, for students with disabilities is critical to ensuring that they have equitable access to post-secondary opportunities, meaningful employment, and independent living. The Division of Vocational Rehabilitation, the DVR, school districts often operate in silos, which leads to fragmentation of services for students with disabilities transitioning to employment of post-secondary life. Increasing collaboration between school districts and the DVR is essential in addressing these changes. WASB supports the use of federal, state, and local resources in collaborative manner with the Department of Vocational Rehabilitation to support transition programs for students with disabilities to achieve better employment. I'm with that.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, why is this a new?
I don't know. Again, that's kind of weird.
It looks like
This
there's
is-
not clear policies. I mean, just from understanding, there's a lot of silos. So while DVR exists, there's not a lot of partnership and direction related to collaborating or specific, like it's hard. They need to create systems and policies to actually open up doors of communication sometimes.
All right, let's go on to number, so we got a number.
That was a.
That was a yes
Yeah.
for number 6. So number 7, universal state covered meals. Resolution is create WASB supports state legislation to establish and fund a universal school meal program to cover the cost of all student meals not covered by federal programs. Rationale, research, blah, blah, blah. The state covering all the costs of all school meals for every student regardless of income, not only help alleviate student hunger, but reduce the stigma some students may face by not being able to cover the full cost. I would say on this one right here, if this is coming through, then if this is coming from the federal money all the way to the state and everybody doing it, I'd say yes.
It's not coming through the federal.
Support state legislation,
They're
so,
proposing that it comes out of the surplus.
that the state has.
Wait a minute, just making sure.
Just to have that discussion.
Oh, yeah, because it's to cover the cost of all student meals not covered by.
By
the
federal,
program.
right.
That, which you is right, means that the state would be responsible for it.
Yeah.
And so the
So
concern.
where again, where's that money coming from?
Yes, where's the money?
Okay, see, but again, we've got the surplus, but what happens when you run out of surplus?
Exactly,
Correct.
but that's what the proposal is. I guess that's a different
Yeah,
conversation for a different day.
Right, because you can approve it, it doesn't mean it's gonna get
Yeah,
approved in
yeah.
the legislatures.
right, because we got the surplus or whatever, hey, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're gonna take the money from there to be able to do it, because actually, quite sure we already got advocates that are already in the midst of all of that anyway.
And I'm pretty sure you're gonna have some folks opposing that.
So what are we saying?
Or approve.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Okay, to number 7. All right, number 8. Public Education Endowment Fund. Wildly wants to support legislation that creates a public education endowment fund to be invested on behalf of Wisconsinites to fully and equitably fund public education across the state. In 2023, 121 of Wisconsin's 421 school districts held referenda to raise funds, and 145 did so in 2024. More than one half of all districts in each year indicated a growing trend of systematic underfunding. Given this, and our state currently holds a budget surplus of roughly $4 billion at estimate, we have a historic opportunity to take proactive steps to ensure public education is adequately funded for the future. Creating such a fund would allow us to meet Wisconsin constitutional requirement to provide equitable education funding across all districts.
Overseas, but
See, that's the
Would it be BPI?
didn't say it would probably have to be Department of Public Instruction would have to hold it. DPI would probably have to hold it, and if it's doing this, and would they turn around and try to use like the Wisconsin was that was that WRS or whatever, and use the same people to be able to do it, because you'd be trying to invest it as well too. Again, a question that would be a question I would have. And how much?
And again, they talking about this surplus. They're not gonna use the whole surplus on education for sure.
But I guess I think that probably the rationale is ask for as much as you possibly can and hope that you get some of it.
Yeah, I mean, if that was the case, they would do it without us
Right.
needing an endowment. But yeah,
Is this the opposite of the referendum?
Well, I think it's two total different things. Like the endowment, when I always think about endowment, I always think about that's for future use. So if things get tight, you can go to the endowment fund and be able to get dollars.
And
That's the reason why I was wondering, like, who would hold the money?
yeah.
and that will stop you from going out. That's why I said, are they counteracting? Are they working kind of in tandem together? If you approve this, then more local districts won't have to go out for referendum.
Yep.
Because you could have.
You could apply for
Apply for this,
some endowment dollars.
doesn't mean you'll get it.
Right.
It's like the same as a referendum, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, where's it coming from? Who's managing it? What are the criteria to receive it?
Too many questions on this one.
But I mean,
And they don't give you enough to make a intelligent vote either. honestly.
coming out of a flare. Creating such a fund would allow us to meet Wisconsin constitutional requirement to provide equitable education funding across all districts. But I don't know how that could be.
And that's also when we borderline impossible.
Right. And for the fact that the committee approved it with no notes, no edits, no, it's like, well, what's up?
Probably approved it thinking it's not gonna get passed in the legislature.
Yeah,
It's like
they
when
put it out there now.
questions asked and then
We
they
asked
say,
him,
well,
but we'll ask.
but then they said.
I'm looking right here. I'd probably say no, because I don't know what, is it going to come at the cost of us potentially losing other dollars to do special education or this, that, the other? But the money's got to come from someplace.
Somewhere.
So in my mind, I would say no right now, because I don't have enough information to even make a real informed decision. We can't even use the old when in doubt, look about. So, nay? Nay? Ashley?
Yeah.
Nay? Okay, all right. All right, let's go on to our next one is number 9. Amendment to Resolution 3.1 Early Childhood Education Funding and Public-Private Partnerships. The rationale is the recently created Get Kids Ready initiative administered through the Department of Children and Families created 2 funding mechanisms for 4K education. This new funding mechanism threatens the variety of existing 4K educational partnerships established between public schools and privately run childcare centers. In addition, the Get Kids Ready program lowers the requirements for 4K teachers in childcare centers. 4K students deserve fully DPI certified teachers to meet their educational needs. This came out of La Crosse, and all publicly funded 3K and 4K schools, including schools receiving voucher funding or funding through public agencies other than the DPI, must have the exact same accountability reporting and transparency standards and requirements. The WASB supports a single funding mechanism for 4K education, creating 2 publicly supported educational systems that threatens the sustainability of public schools.
It'll essentially with this wipe out childcare centers across the state.
It would affect childcare centers or whatever, because they wouldn't be able to pay for a licensed certified K-4 teacher.
And I think that for our Milwaukee County and for Brown Deer, for example, we have a half-day K-4. So if we were to support something like this, in effect, that would mean that parents could send their child to school half-day, but if they're working full-time, they would have to come out of their pocket to find some other type of coverage for their child. And then if we're thinking about private childcare, I think that's exempting religious faith, but just like these independent centers that we see throughout the city. Am I understanding this correctly?
Well, no, because it says that they support state-funded public school 3K and full-day 4K for all children.
For public schools, but not for the independent,
Right.
like
Right.
Mama.
So basically what they're trying to do is hold everybody at the same standard. Right. So K-4, you got to have a licensed K-4 teacher. You just can't have a person that, see, now what that does is that would do like choice schools and stuff like that, where you don't have to have a teacher license in order to be a teacher. You just got to have a college degree. All right.
Mandatory what, school ages 6?
No, mandatory is K-5. K-5 is mandatory.
K-5 is mandatory, but they don't have to report until they're 6. So they can,
You still gotta do kindergarten in order.
You got to do K-5.
Right.
Yeah, you got to do K-5. That's K-4 is the one that's not recognized. See, Wisconsin state statutes, K-4 isn't a recognized grade level, right? K-5 is recognized. So when you're 4 years old, you don't have to go to school.
No.
But when you're 5, you got to go. You got to go for K-5.
I think the age is 6. I know that they have to go through K-5 because we looked at that earlier. So even if they're 6, they have to go through the K-5 program. But I guess I mentioned that because if they're talking like, if the argument or if the narrative is that K-4 teachers have to be licensed and certified, but yet I can keep my K at home until they're 5 or 6, that's sort of.
Right. Well, I think, ultimately when I look at this is here it is. As a public school district, our K-4 teachers, all of our teachers have to be licensed. Choice schools, mom and pop operations that run K-4, don't have to have licensed teachers. The statute is different. All right. So now what they're trying to say is they should hold everybody at the same standard, because what that'll do is that should stop some of that, those 4-year-olds being behind on the curve or whatever, because they're not getting that same type of an education because they're not having a licensed teacher and a program that's got to follow the state standards or whatever have you. I think this is kind of what this is looking at and trying to say. So now what this would do is this would really hurt choice schools, because like I said before, they don't have to have licensed teachers. They just have to have a bachelor's degree.
In several businesses in our county, it will hurt them as well. Like the child development centers and and all, like that would totally wipe them out in a place and time where we're already short of teachers.
Right. So again, you got to look at this on both sides. Can you close the achievement gap a lot quicker if you do have licensed teachers and being able to do that? Now, again, I'm a proponent of this. Some of the best teachers I ever met weren't licensed teachers.
Yeah, now think about all these childcare centers too,
Yep.
that need their 3-year-olds.
Yeah, that too. And if they're part of the Head Start program, if these kids are in Head Start and everything else like that, you've got Head Start guidelines as well too.
Right, and they don't have licensed teachers at their Head Start program.
Majority of them don't.
Yeah, no, I don't think this is good for the students and families we serve.
This one right here is like one of those ones I think it hurts. I think this one right here would hurt, especially when you start talking about urban areas.
Yeah, consider the source.
And if we were to do our early childhood, would our teachers be licensed or will we?
Because we're a public school district, so we have to. We have no choice.
Here. It says here, 4K kids, that bottom line, 4K students deserve fully DPI certified teachers to meet their
Right.
education.
And they'd have to try to follow Lamel's Wisconsin model education standards for that and everything else like that. So again, I can see it on one side being like, hey, this is what I'd want, but the realization and to be real about it or whatever, that way it would make it. We would be closing that. You would be closing down some places.
And then you would have people who would have able to read people.
So we saying no? Okay.
Yeah, and for the K program, you have to have a disability.
Okay. So we got a no for number 9. Number 10. If you want. Go. All right. Number 10. Reporting decoupling of public and private school funding. Rationale.
I really believe it. This got pushed last year, and it took up a whole lot of time on the floor, and it's gonna happen.
Yeah, that's gonna be a big risk.
Here's this rationale provided by Kettle Moraine. They're saying under the current Wisconsin law, when a student leaves a public school district to enroll in a private voucher, special needs scholarship, or independent charter school, the state reduces the district's equalization aid by the amount of the voucher. As a result, here we go. As a result, taxpayers must offset the loss through increased property taxes, even though their locally elected school board has no oversight over these schools. Reassigning the responsibility for funding private choice programs to state level government, state's general purpose revenue would equalization aid focused on public schools, students, and local classrooms, mitigate state equalization aid cuts in rural Wisconsin districts who are experiencing decline in enrollment, prevent hidden local property tax increases resulting from state policy decisions, and provide school boards with a stable, predictable revenue limits, support responsible property tax levy planning, increased transparency by placing the full cost of the choice programs within the state budget where it can be properly debated. This change would preserve the integrity of Wisconsin schools' finance system, protects taxpayers, and ensure that public funds remain accountable to the public. So basically, they're saying all this to say, you know what, it should be separate money. Period. If you want to have choice schools should have their own bucket of money thing and where that comes from, and public schools should have their own bucket of money for where it comes from. And it's like say for us, for Brown Deer, if we had a student that would leave us and wanted to go to a choice school, right? If I'm looking at this correctly, and they went to a school, it wouldn't make a difference to us, right? because
We keep the money.
we keep the money.
Money doesn't follow us too.
Right.
Vouchers would grow though. Right? But that voucher money that eventually comes, they take it.
Cause like right now, we only pay the voucher system, like say we get the $11,030 per pupil, right?
But
Now, if they go to a choice school they only get like 9,000.
I know,
No,
it increased.
3,700.
No, it increased, y'all.
Oh.
They,
Right, it's 9,000 now.
it's closer to 11,000.
For choice?
I think you just upped it more.
I think they just upped it in this last.
Oh, it is.
It is up. They just upped it.
It's 11, is it 11,030?
In line with the.
It's 11,030. It's almost in line with
So is it the same as public and
It's
charter?
about.
Close.
It's very.
about $1,000 difference.
It's a very, very, very close.
I think the decoupling is trying to get the private schools away from laundering their money through us. Because,
Yeah.
for example, 10 years ago, our vouchers were probably $200,000. Now it's
Yeah.
1.2 million.
Mhm.
The
With those.
taxpayers don't see that. They just see that our levy keeps growing.
Mhm.
It's growing because they're laundering their money through our levy.
Yeah.
So this way you're telling the taxpayer, like, no, you're paying the private school that's teaching whatever because they don't have the same standards and they're not taking all the kids. They get to choose the students they get.
Yeah.
Whereas we don't have to tender.
Yeah, and we gotta be held to the standards and everything else.
Right, service.
Yeah, because regardless, and that's kind of what I had said before, regardless of whatever happens, if a kid goes another thing, we're still responsible for educating that student. All right, so this one right here, number 10. You agree or disagree?
I mean, essentially it would not impact our budget, correct? It will just separate them. Is that what I'm understanding?
So here's the thing, I mean, if we voted yes to this, how long could you separate those stuff, right? Like it literally, I'm not understanding, that's the part that I.
That's gonna be the problem, because now
Right.
you're gonna have to have two total different state budgets
There,
when it comes to education.
right,
And how does that end up being like, when we start talking about equitable and everything else like that, if public school districts are held to this standard? And-
But I think that that's probably going to change that as well. If the funding, if the way they receive funding changes, then they should be held to a different
See,
standard.
but where are they getting the money from? See, right now, all of the money comes through us from taxpayers, right? So now, where does this money come from? If you decouple, where is this money coming from for these kids that might be going to these private schools? Where is this money coming from? Because as taxpayers, we're paying right now, we're on the hook for any student that's in ours. And so we're on the hook to be able to educate them. Even if they go to a choice school, we send the choice school whatever their dollar amount is, and we keep what's left right now, correct? Now, if they turn around and do this, then we have nothing to do with it. If they want to go to choice school, it's on, I don't know, but where is the money going to come from? It can't come from the taxpayers anymore. So is there now, are they talking about DPI is going to have a whole different pot of money that they're going to have to come up with in order to be able to maintain choice schools?
That's what I'm assuming.
Right, because you can't, if you're gonna do that, you can't use my tax dollars to be able to pay for somebody else's stuff that I don't have any accountability for.
Well, at the rate that the choice schools are growing, they might be a whole nother department of ed, if you will, to get at some of the issues we're talking about, right? Like, because there's an increase in schools. I mean, these schools from its inception to today, nobody would have ever thought that we would be where we are right now.
Yep.
Right? Fusion of the dollars, and now the confusion of how those dollars don't get in.
Yeah. So my biggest thing with this one would be is where they gonna get this money from? Where's this money coming from? Because it can't come from the tax, like it couldn't come from Brown Deer, the village of Brown Deer and our taxes or whatever. It'd have to come from someplace else.
Well, on page 20, it says reassign responsibility for funding private choice programs to state level government, state's general purpose revenue. So that's the state.
Right, but the state still get their money from us.
Get the money.
Right.
Right, so where they gonna come? Where they gonna get the money? Now we keep talking about this. Now we're talking about this
Right.
$4 billion surplus. Well, think about how many choice schools are running around in the city of Milwaukee or in Milwaukee County.
Right.
This can't work.
So we don't know where the money's going.
All right, so are we on a no on this one? Or on a yes? Yeah.
And you're saying no to the decoupling, to supporting the decoupling.
That what we're saying?
10 is supporting 11 is opposed.
Right.
Yep.
Don't say the same thing. That's the easy part.
That's why it's so confusing.
One came from Nina and one came from Kettle Moraine supporting it. And then Nina and Wauwatosa, what did Wauwatosa have to say?
Wauwatosa is saying they're.
They're opposing it.
Yeah.
Right, and so it says in the notes on page 20. The committee also sought to have the language of this resolution mirror as closely as possible the language of the next resolution in this packet, with one using the word supports and the other opposes. The goal was to make it clear to delegates that these resolutions take contrasting positions on the same policy topic. So we would say, no, we're not supporting, but yes, we're opposing. So we would say no to 10 if we're not supporting it, yes to 11 because
Yep.
we're opposing it.
Yep.
Because it's the same issue.
It's the same issue. One saying yay and one saying no.
No, the next
Yeah.
one saying no.
So which one?
Where they're getting me at though is, so for 10, it says supports legislation separating funding for choice and charter schools from public school equalization aid, and instead supports that the state taking full responsibility to fund payments.
Right.
But then on 11, it says they oppose legislation to separate funding, and instead supports that all publicly funded schools being funded by a combination of state and local tax dollars.
Which is what we currently do.
It's two separate, they're not saying the same thing.
Right.
So I don't
10
know
is
how you can
saying-
say.
Right.
10 support one and oppose the other, but they're not saying the same.
Right.
Their rationales are different.
Right, so
For-
Yeah, so 10 is pro-public school stability and local taxpayer. 11 claims decoupling could reduce uniformity, weaken transparency, create inequity.
Yeah. And it does, because I don't know how you
Right.
separate it out.
Right. Right, so no
Yeah.
to 10, yes to
Yes,
11.
11.
No to 10,
Yeah.
and yay to 11. Okay.
That is in favor of
Decoupling.
Mm-hmm.
So you keep your equalization, right? So when kids leave, it doesn't affect us.
We don't know where the money comes from.
It doesn't matter,
It does.
because it won't affect us though, so.
It's gonna affect you because the money's gotta come from somewhere. Money gotta come from somewhere. It just ain't gonna come out the blue. All right, any more discussion on this one? Ms. Farrington, you got another question in relationship to this or whatever? I mean, you sure?
I think I just, the way it's, if you just read it, I'm not going to it. I mean, obviously, personally, it doesn't matter, but for a school district, if 12 of our kids went off to choice, right now we keep those kids, we pay for those kids, we're responsible, right? So if you decouple the kids, like you say, oh, you're leaving, okay, see you later. Good luck out there. So
But
wherever
it still affects us either way,
how,
because we wouldn't get the money.
That dollars go
Yep.
where he goes. Or
Yeah, it doesn't come to us.
Now we get it and pass it through.
We pass it through, and so
But
whatever's
then
left, we
wouldn't get
keep.
it at all.
Yeah.
So it's still gonna affect us.
so if we are keeping the money and keeping the kid, do we get any money by keeping the kid?
We get the.
We get the
cost
regular- we get the
takes to
regular-
educate the kid.
Yep.
So if a kid elects to come to Brown Deer High School in the very beginning of the school year, that money comes to Brown Deer High School.
Yes.
If that same child decides in January that he's gonna go to said choice school, Brown Deer still keeps that money.
Because man, at the end of the day, you gotta remember, we're still responsible for educating that kid, regardless of whatever happens. They can go turn around and go to a choice school, and the choice school get the money after third count Friday, because and then that right after third count Friday, choice school can let them go and send them back to us, and now we gotta pay. Now we gotta educate this kid, and we don't even have the money.
We don't even have the money.
Right.
That would have been at the
Yeah.
school he or she elected. And
Yeah. Okay. Good conversation. Good conversation. And I think that's the reason why this right here was like that last year.
this is gonna be like.
Right. That's gonna be a hot bid question or
Yeah.
whatever.
I think a few of these are gonna be high
Yeah.
bid. I might wanna go sit in just to hear something.
You just want to see somebody argue.
We'll be there all night like we were before.
Wanna get a-
I know. Oh my. Yeah. All right. Number 12, encouraging schools to participate in WIA policy making. Rationale, Wildesby has had the practice of avoiding adopting resolutions that attempt to dictate WIA policy decisions. Member districts of WIA have representation on WIA policy processes. Wildesby also has representation on the WIA Board of Control. Wildesby should respect the independence and process of WIA, just as we expect the same from WIA. Currently, 3.96 goes against Wildesby's practice of not having resolutions that dictate policy positions to the WIA.
I agree.
I agree.
I agree.
That was to me, that was an easy one.
Yeah.
Stay out of other folks' business. That ain't your thing. Basically. All right. Oh, wait, I'm so sorry. I just put yay. Members, I'm sorry. I jumped the gun. What do you guys think? Mr. McGregor on here?
Encourages schools to participate in WIA policy making.
Yeah.
He just opened.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Did you hear this one, Mr. McGregory?
A little bit of it.
Encourages schools to participate in the WIA policy making. They wanted to say the rationale is Wildesby has had a practice of avoiding adopting resolutions that attempt to dictate WIA policy decisions. Member districts of WIA have representation on the WIA policy process. Wildesby also has representation on the WIA Board of Control. Wildesby should respect the independence and process of the WIA, just as we expect the same from the WIA. Currently, 3.96 goes against Wildesby practice of not having resolutions that dictate policy positions to the WIAA.
I'm in agreement with you. They need to stay out of their business and let them do it.
Okay. All right. Thank you from our athletic director. All right. Because he's the one that has to be in the middle of that. Thank you very much, sir. We appreciate you being online.
You're welcome.
All right.
We haven't already adopted that policy.
Now, these right here, these next
You
ones,
know what I mean?
So these are resolutions turned down by the policy. So the next ones are the resolutions that got turned down by the policy and recognition.
so we ain't got to talk about
We
these.
don't really have.
Okay.
Let's approve it, right?
Yeah,
But-
approve. 12 is yes.
But if somebody's in the room who put it forward,
They could turn around and ask for a motion to be able
they
to get a
can go
vote and
up
put
to
on.
the mic and say, I would ask the body to reconsider.
Right, but then they would have to turn around and come back the following year, though. It wouldn't be on there for right now. So, okay, so now I just want to clarify. See, because my packet came, it was coming right backwards. So I'm gonna end up talking about it backwards. 12 is a yes. All right. 11 is a yes. 10 is a no.
Correct.
Right. 9 is a no. 8 is a no. I got, where's my 7?
Seven is a yes.
7 is a yes. Yeah, oh, yes, say universal state coverage. 7 is a yes. 8 is a no. Now I'm going backwards again. Huh? 6 is a yes.
Five is a no.
5 is a no. 4.
Yeah.
Yes. 3, yes. 2 is a no. And 1 is a yes. All right, we good? So what I will do is forward this to Ms. Welch. If you could, I don't know if you can type up or whatever, and then we forward it to Ms. Welch to let her know that this is what the board say yay and nay to. All right, so now let's go on to this next one, 3C, to motion to approve the Wisely State Education Convention proposed resolutions. So I'd like to make a motion?
Yes, I would like to approve 2026 WASB State Education Convention proposed resolutions as presented.
Thank you very much, Ms. Hallmark. Motion has been made. Do we have a second? I think Ms. Farrington, motion made second. Any discussion?
Okay, so question here. Should that say we're approving the,
The proposed resolution as presented from what we said, what we
Right.
talked about. Yes, that's what we're approving, what we just talked about. Yeah, even though the wording is a little. even though-
Instead of presented as
discussed.
Yeah, as discussed, the wording is a little
Right.
off, but it's what we went in as what we just through.
Okay.
Okay, all right, so Ms. Farrington seconded. Any other discussion? Hearing seen, all in favor, raise hand and or aye. Any opposed? Hearing seen, motion carries unanimously, 5-0. All right. Let's turn all my stuff. All right, let's go. All right, let's go on to our next item is D, discussion of the Neola policy. It's our first reading. Would someone like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the Neola policy review as presented.
Thank you very much, Ms. Farrington. The motion has been made. Do we have a second? Okay, Ms. Hallmeyer, motion been made, second. Any discussion?
so just for clarity, it was just the name changes in there, right?
All of these have a compliance officer, so it went from Kevin to now Quinn.
Do we have to be specific? Can we just say the role versus a specific name?
In those policies, they require it.
It's a name.
Okay.
First gotta be able to know exactly.
So like on some of those policies, Erica's name is mentioned, some
Right.
of them Trina's name is mentioned.
All right, so any other further discussion? You're seeing none, all in favor, raise hand and or aye. Any opposed? You're seeing none, motion carries unanimously, 5-0. All right, so now our next item is a motion to go into closed session. With this, individuals that are in our chat, our video conferencing and everything. Right now, we're getting ready to go into a motion to go into closed session. So that would basically end our meeting right now, but we will be coming. Now, we do need to come back into open session. You may need to. So we may need to come back into open session. If you do want to, if you're in the chat, if you do want to stay, you can, but we are getting ready to go into closed session. All right, so would someone like to make a motion?
I will make a motion and roll call vote to enter into closed session pursuant to Wisconsin State Statute 19.85, parent 1, parent C. The Board of Education may move into closed session for the purposes of consider preliminary notices of non-renewal, B, discussion of 26 through 28 administrator contracts, and C, motion to roll call vote to return to open session to announce or take action if any is appropriate.
All right, thank you very much. A motion has been made. Do we have a second? All right. All right, with that being said, Ms. Ashley.
Vito,
Aye.
Daniels, Ashley, I. Darrington,
Aye.
Homer. Lincoln. Robinson.
Okay.
Welch. Oh,
Well, all right, motion carries at 5-0. We go into closed session at 7:24 p.m. All right, those that are with us right now, thank you very much. If you can't stay, and if not, you will be able to stay, Miss.
My question is are you going to come back into the Zoom in open session, or are you just going to be in open session and have it accounted for in the minutes? You've done both.
You know what, it's probably almost better for us to just go ahead and just be able to put it in the notes. rather than do this, because we don't know how long we're gonna be in this.
I understand, so
All right.
that's okay, so, but that's fine, it's the same, it's pre-Zoom,
Right.
that's what you would do, so,
Right.
yeah.
Okay, so yeah, so for all intents and purposes, for those that are online or whatever, our meeting is potentially over with. In relationship to that, but you would be able to get the minutes from this if you do want to, know. All right,
If we go back.
if we go in the back note section. All right. All right, well, thank you very much, everyone. Have a good one remainder of your evening. Then we go into closed session. Thank you. Yes.